Hi there, and in today's video we're going to build this split hero section, continuing on with the rebuilding of a Webflow site. This is a screenshot that I've dropped in just for reference only so that we can see what we're building, so that I don't have to keep going backwards and forwards between tabs, and you can see what we're trying to do here. I'm building this without any framework, core framework or ACSS, because I want you to see how you can build it with bricks alone. We will be using BEM, and it will be a bit slow to put some of those in without ACSS or framework or advanced thema, but you'll get the idea as we go along. So let's start by putting the structure in for this. So we'll need we need a section with 2 blocks in it. So let's start by doing that. So let's go to add a section. And then let's add 2 blocks. As we can see, let's drop those in there. And in the first block, we are going to need a heading, some basic text, a button, an image, because this is an SVG image, and then some text. So let's add in a heading, some basic text, a button, an image, and some basic text. So that's the basic structure for that side there. And then in the next block, we are going to put in, this is just an image. That's how they've done it on the other site, so that's how we're going to do it here. I would have tried myself to maybe add the bits in as separate elements, pseudo elements and things like that, but for this instance, we're just going to use it as a full image, because that's probably how a lot of people will do this. Right, so let's start by naming some of this. We're going to call this split hero section. Sorry, I'm the world's slowest typist. So let's call this split hero wrapper. This one will be split hero content. Split hero media wrapper. Oop. Media wrapper. That's going to be split hero image, so that'll be fine. Split hero heading, basic text button. That's going to be trust logo, and that'll be basic text. So let's, that's there, that will be intro button. This will be trust pilot image, and this is going to be rating score. Right, now let's go put some, let's by putting some classes on here. So let's call this split hero and then double underscore, because this will be section. I'm putting a class on this because we are going to be adding a background SVG on this. I don't know if you can notice, but in the corner here there was a light SVG, which we may need another section, so we may as well put that on here. So on the split hero wrapper, we'll put a class of split hero wrapper, and then this will be split hero heading. This is going to be split hero intro. This is going to be, again, this is a bit monotonous here, but split hero button. This could be something that's placed on its own, so maybe we don't put this as part of the split hero. For now, we'll do it this way, but in another instance, I'll probably make this its own block, because we could put this throughout the site. So let's call this rating image. Not the best name, but naming things is hard, especially live. And we'll call this rating. So that's that. We'll call this Split Hero Media Wrapper. And Split Hero, we'll call this image because it is an image. We could use video, let's call this media. Just in case you do change it at some point down the line. Right. This looks like it's not actually in the right place. Yes, it's not dropped into there, so let's drop that into the right place. And let's start by putting some of the content in so we can start to style this a bit better. So I'm just going to copy some of the content from the actual site. So that's that. Let's now put in the intro. There's the intro. I'm a button is now going to say place an order. Not quite sure why it's got a capital O. I've already uploaded the media that we need for this, just to save time, and then this one is going to be the image with the phone, which is that one there. So let's drop all of those in. So that's now all of the items in place. Oh, no, it's not. We need to put in the actual ratings. So let's copy and paste that content in there. So now we actually have all of the things in. Let's click save just to make sure that we've got it all. First thing we need to do is to get them onto their own grid. Oh, I can see that I've spelt that wrong. So let's just change this. Right, so make sure that's selected. And let's make this display grid. And let's make this very easy. 1 FR, 1 FR. In a previous tutorial, I set up some variables. So if we click on here now, you can see that I can just put in grid gap, and that automatically puts in. There's a new thing in the 1.9.8.1, I believe, that you can now add variables in Bricks itself. So I've actually added just a few variables here to help speed along the process and make it more maintainable in the future. Not really the way I would normally do it. I would normally build a site with ACSS and let that take care of all of this. But for the basis of this, I'm just showing you that you can actually do this in Bricks itself, and makes a big difference to how we use that, because if I can change the grid gap or the spacing throughout the site, and I only have to change it in one place. Right, let's go to Split Hero Contents. Let's look at this. That's obviously going to be a heading 1. So let's make that a heading 1. Make sure this is a paragraph. And make sure this is span. As we can see, this is obviously a lot bigger here. So making sure that the split heading is class is selected. Let's go to the styling and look at typography for start. Font size, we have no font sizes set up. So we could just put an arbitrary, let's say 4M, which isn't big enough. We can actually then just use the up and down arrow key to get it to be the kind of size that we want it to be. And I will say that is probably about right at the moment. I mean, we could actually measure it and make sure, but this is something that you would make sure that you got it right, as you wanted it to be. We do need to take some line height out of this, so let's put 1 in for now, and let's see. That actually looks about right. Width is about there. Let's tackle the delivered in a different colour. So how I normally do this is I would put the delivered in a span tag, span, and then a closing span tag, making sure it's still selected. Go down to the actual CSS, press R and tab, and that puts the root key in, root selector in, sorry, and then do span, because that's what we're targeting here, and then the curly brackets, and then let's change the colour. Be in English, I was type colour like that. So let's put in colour, and then we want it to be the variable that we've put in before. So that would be var, and it is primary, I believe. You can look here in the thing, and there we have primary as the colour there. There's only really one colour used on this site, so I've just done this for ease of use here. And that now has what we want in there. Let's save that. And then let's look at the button. Using the split hero button class, I think probably shouldn't have called it that, because these buttons are probably used throughout the site. So let's delete that. We do have a primary button throughout the site, so let's go to here and let's look at the primary button. The typography would be white. The primary is the right colour, but it doesn't actually allow me to put spacings in here. Yes it does. So padding, let's make that, no, all of those are going to be too large, so let's make it 0.5 m, which is not big enough. Let's make it 1 m, and let's just link those for now and see what it looks like. Let's make that 2m. 2m, 1m. Let's have a look at that. That doesn't look bad. It actually looks wider on the thing, but I think the text needs to be bigger. So let's go back to the button settings. Sorry about this. Typography 2rem. Looks pretty good there. Now the button padding seems to be looking a little large, so let's go down and make that 0.7 and 0.7. That's not looking too bad. And then the border, let's make that a radius of, let's say, 1m, and see what that looks like. Doesn't seem to be having any effect whatsoever. Wrong place. That's style dark, style primary. Let's do 1m. That's too much. So 0.25. Pretty good. Let's make that 0.4. 0.4 looks pretty good. Right, can we put a background image on this? We can't. So let's save for now. And let's go back to the button. Actually, let's make this a modifier. Make sure it's selected. Go to the background. Let's select the image. And we want the button wave. Well, there we have it. That looks pretty good, actually. Straight off. That looks pretty good there. That looks pretty good there, apart from the span, which again we're going to add the span tag. So let's do that. 4.8 out of 5. Let's do a closing span tag. Make sure the class is selected. Let's go down to CSS, tab R, and then span, and then curly brackets. And then let's type in color and use the variable that we've set up. Primary, and we can see that that's working fine. And let's not forget the semicolon. Right. Now, that's almost there, but it's looking a bit rough at the moment. So first of all, let's look at the split hero content, which doesn't seem to have a class on that one. So let's just make sure we add a class. Must have missed that out. Split hero content. Split hero __ content. Right, and let's make sure that this is display flex and it's a column, and then we want to center it in the middle. So that's like that. Brilliant. That's looking pretty good. Now all we need to do is just increase the space in here. So I made a variable in one of the other videos, so let's just click on that and let's say space M. That's not bad. Let's try space L, which is 3M. I'm really looking at the space between the button and the Trustpilot, because actually when you look at these need to be joined together and these need to be grouped together. So let's go and do that first. Let's wrap this in a block and drop that into there. So they are now joined together. And the Trustpilot wants to be wrapped in a block, and the rating score needs to be joined together. And then for this block, we need to add a class to this, split hero _ top content. And then let's put a row gap in, there of space M, which actually I've done this totally wrong. What I should be doing is using my variable of content gap. So let's go back and have a look at that. That there should be content gap. So then that this block here, we should put in content gap and then do a calc of content gap divided by 2, let's say. So that's a lot tighter. I think the content gap needs to be a bit more in this one here. That one looks about right, and that actually I think is fine in this instance. But the actual split hero content wants to actually be a bit more. I'm doing it this way so that we have more maintainability throughout the site. So we want to times that. Let's do that by 2 at the moment. Let's have a look. That's way too much. So let's do 1.3. So now that's spaced that out there nicely. So let's have a look at that. I think all the content and everything is in there. This image seems a lot larger, but that is basically due to the fact that that's just a screenshot and I've just dropped it in arbitrarily to see where it goes. This actually is probably more how we would like it. But just checking, yeah, that's maybe that needs to be just a little bit wider. So let's click on the image there. Let's make sure it's going the full width. So let's make that 100%. Yeah, that's just a little bit better there. And we do have the do we have a gap there? Yes, we do. We have grid gap in there. Display grid. That's fine. Let's delete this section now because all we really need to do is put in the SVG content. So if we get rid of this section here, and then we can see that we actually need some space in top and bottom of this. So let's go back to the variable manager and let's do a new variable, which will be section M for medium padding, and let's make that 5 rem. Again, an arbitrary value. I'm just trying it out at the moment. Let's save that. Save the variable and let's go back. Let's go back to the section. Make sure this is selected, and we will put the padding as section M and section M, which doesn't really seem enough, so let's make another variable. In fact, now let's just go back and alter there to, let's try 8 rem and have a look, see what that looks like. Ooh. Yep, that's much more like it for this section. Yeah, that's about right, I reckon. So let's now try and tackle the SVG in the background. So let's go to the background. Let's select the image here. The image is here. As you can see, it's absolutely massive and doesn't really do what we want. So let's make this no repeat. Let's make this top right. We don't want it cover. Let's do contain. That's still way too big compared to what the original was. So let's do custom. And let's make this 50%. That's pretty good, actually. Let's try this at 60%. That's too much. So 55%. Oh, no, not 655%. That's way, way too big. I think we were closer with 50% to what was actually on the visual. And I think that's great there. Now let's have a look at this in the different breakpoints. Right, we need some kind of gutter here. That's way too close to the edge, so that's not going to work. So I think what we should do is have a variable for the gutter. So I'm just actually going to call this gutter. And let's make this a value of 2 rem. Save that. In fact, that's not right. We actually need to make this gutter small at 2 rem, because we will need a gutter medium, and let's make that 4 rem, and let's make a gutter large, and let's make that 6 rem, because we're going to need different ones at different sizes. We could do clamp functions and things like that, but I think that's a little much for what this is, as in the tutorial we're doing at the moment, as I say. So let's have a look at this now. Let's go to the layout, and we want a padding on the layout of go to medium and go to medium, so that when we go to this side, that looks fine. I think at this size it needs to stack. So we go to the split hero wrapper, go here and make sure that's just one FR. It seems to have no effect. Oh, it has no effect because I put IFR. One FR. That looks fine there. I think that works. I think at this size, do we want the image above or below? If that's the case, what we would do is go to the... Oh dear, again, this hasn't got a class on it, so I made a mistake there. So let's put one on. Split, hero, _, media, wrapper. And at this size, we want to do the order. So we can just search for it here. -1. And then the content is flex and centered. Oh, the image is centered, isn't it? It's just got a lot of spacing on that there. So not much we can do about that, really. I think that is pretty good overall. Yep, I think that works well. So that concludes this small tutorial. I hope you like it. Leave me any comment that you want to do. If you want to see any more, let me know. If you have any ideas for other bits that I can try and build and flail my way through, as I seem to be doing on all of these, let me know. Just leave me some comments, like, subscribe, and just let me know how it's going. Thanks.